2. Stafford and Matthews made it past our debut. Chris, week 1 in the NFL finally came and went, and what a weekend it was. I mean, some of the greatest games, one of the best opening weekends I've actually ever experienced, and a lot of up and downs throughout the entire schedule, especially for my picks we'll get into in a minute. Did not go well. If you guys needed a little reminder, did not go well. And starting with Thursday night, obviously, but we're gonna get right into it. No chit chat, no nothing. We're all business here. Stafford and Matthews. Here we go. Week 2. All right. Reviewing week 1. Thursday night game, Texans-Chiefs. Now, this did not go well for the Houston Texans. And there's a few reasons why. The biggest reason, Patrick Mahomes. And I think we all knew he was going to ball out. I was hoping that Deshaun Watson would do just enough to win the game, but I was dead wrong. And I have no problem admitting that. I'd rather look stupid betting on the underdog than look like a genius when they actually win. You know what I'm trying to say?
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't go that route, but let's I'll hear you out.
Well, you're still a smarter guy than I am, so that makes sense. So you picked the right team. I'm just saying. Anyway, so getting the stats here, Watson was 20 of 32 for 253 yards and a touchdown, also an interception. Mahomes was 24 of 32, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, perfection. This dude really balled out the entire game.
Great ball.
Yeah. 100%. David Johnson actually had a nice comeback game. 11 carries, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Looked a lot better than I thought he would.
I told you.
You did tell me.
I told you.
You did tell me.
He is going to ball out. I knew it. I knew it from the get-go. Everybody wants to sleep on David Johnson, but I'm telling you, the guy is a proven baller. He's going to come back.
Now, let's remember,
start.
Let's remember, I was hesitant to support it. I was not hating on him. Let's make that distinction, all right? Because
I never a lot of hate to me. I don't know.
All right, I'm going to get you back on this, too, because Aaron Rodgers won a football game this weekend, too. So, just talk your stuff. Wait till I get to the Packers.
Yeah.
Anyway, what a debut for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. 25 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown. Now, I'm wrong again on this one because I said don't buy into the hype, the Barry Sanders hype that we're going all around. And you know what? He proved me wrong. He had a great, phenomenal debut game. Passing and the run game just dominated.
132 yards.
Exactly. Just played a phenomenal football game. Can't knock him for that. Actually, congratulations. I'm happy for him.
As a rookie.
As a rookie.
Yeah. That's the thing where you'll see a clear-cut decision between the past and the future. And that's the future. Helaire is the future.
100%. And going up against guys like Zach Cunningham, who just got paid, and all that along that defensive line as well. Obviously, dominant playmakers all around that front seven for Houston. So very impressive. Very impressed with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Will Fuller had 8 catches on 112 yards. Pretty good game for him. He actually stayed healthy, so that's a plus for Will Fuller. That's a win in his book. Anyway, and then Sammy Watkins actually had 7 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown. Led that entire Chiefs receiving room.
I'm so mad because I had him on the bench for my fantasy team. I can't believe it. I wanted to put him in, and I was like, DJ Metcalf, Odell Beckham, Cooper Kupp. Who am I going to take out? And I fumbled the ball. I wasn't paying attention to it, and I knew I should have took out Odell because he was playing against my team, the Ravens. Mm-hmm. I knew I should have done that, but hey, you live and you learn, and then you keep moving on. So we'll see what happens next week. But I still want to keep Odell in for this next week.
I want to hear your thoughts on that later. But I will say the one thing I did do right this weekend, it wasn't picks, it was fantasy. I put up 100. I put up 140 points in fantasy this week. So credit where credit's due. 140.
98. I'm so mad.
Oh, come on. All right. So the final score for KC Houston was 34-20. Just a rout. It was the score. It doesn't even really encapsulate the kind of dominance that Kansas City kind of routed on with Houston. So KC obviously going to look like Super Bowl contenders yet again this upcoming season. We're going to move to the 1 o'clock games now. The New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. Both got this game right. 27-17 was the final score. And I will say, Sam Darnold looked atrocious. And I don't want to. He looked atrocious. And I don't want to put it all on him because Le'Veon Bell got, kind of tweaked up during the game, and his offensive line played horrendously. His receiving core couldn't get open. But, you want to get down to the bottom line, Sam Darnold made some bad decisions during this game. He threw a pick. He was 21 of 35 for 215 yards. Probably the most pedestrian stat line I've seen in a long time from him. So a lot of work left to do for Game Green. Josh Allen, on the other hand, 33 of 46, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also his leading rusher on the day, 14 rushes for 57 yards and another touchdown. That's a hell of a debut for Josh Allen.
No, that's a great debut. But we got to talk about the 2 fumbles that he had. Those 2 fumbles were very, very important to them. And you can't just, when you're out there running the ball and you're the quarterback, everybody's looking to try to hit you. So we need you to cover the ball up. Slide. Get down. We know you're tough. I like you. The rest of the world might like you. Buffalo likes you. Come on, man. Stick with the program. I need to see him do a little bit more for me to really, be sold on him.
I'm with you there, but the name of the game is protecting the football. That's across the board. If you turn the ball over, you don't win football games, and that's how it's going to go. When you're playing the new,
happy that he got that ball.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're playing the New York Jets, you can get away with it. But when you play a team like Kansas City, a team like Baltimore, a team even like New England, we'll get to later, mistakes will cost you in the long run. So Josh Allen, cover the damn ball. Anyway, what a debut for Josh Allen's newest weapon, Stephon Diggs, 8 receptions for 86 yards. We said this in the podcast last week, a match made in heaven. Deep ball quarterback gets his deep ball receiver, and it worked from the get-go.
It definitely did, man. And I want to say that route running is not a myth. It is real, and it gets you open. These guys are so scared of Stephon Diggs that he's going to route them up, that they're just letting him do whatever he wants to do. He wants to run past you, he's going to run past you. If he wants to run and hit a cut, he's going to run and hit a cut, and you're not going to stop him. That's the thing about it, man. You got to be able to run routes.
Exactly. And when you combine that with the speed that Stephon Diggs has and the acceleration, it's just a deadly combination for any defense.
Very nasty. Very nasty.
Though. Exactly. Going back to Gang Green here. But
I'm sorry.
Hit me.
But the one thing that is really irking my nerves, and it's two things. It's really 2 things right now that's going on that I've seen week 1.
Okay.
Special teams is onside kicks and field goals. But I'm going to save the field goals for a little bit later. But the onside kicks, I feel like the NFL needs to change that. It's not fair. It's not competitive. You don't see any big hits anymore or any lucky bounces or anything like that. It's just stand there and run. Try to run full speed at a ball that's going faster than you.
Yeah,
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. They need to change that onside kick.
And says a guy who made his career's, highlight off an onside kick. So
exactly. I'm trying to help out the younger group. That's all I'm trying to do. I want everybody to get paid.
Chris Matthews, a man for the people.
And some trophies, and I want everybody to win.
Yeah, I'm with that. Going back to Gang Green to kind of summarize how really bad this loss was. Yeah. Le'Veon Bell, 6 carries, 14 yards, no touchdowns, just terrible performance. Hurt his hamstring, wasn't always all the way there. Went to IR actually. We'll see him in 3 weeks, hopefully.
I got him on my fantasy too.
I'm gonna have to coach you on fantasy. I think that's my new job.
I need it right now.
Yeah. And then actually, the one bright spot of the New York Jets offensive attack, Jamison Crowder, 7 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Not bad for the former Redskin.
No, he's a solid player. I like him.
Solid player. And the biggest knock going into the Jets offense was their receiving depth. I mean, they signed Chris Hogan, who was not really an exciting player outside New England. You have Jamison Crowder. You draft Denzel Mims, who's not that all of exciting prospect by himself anyway. So that was kind of a big question going in for the Jets. But Jamison Crowder looks like he's working out for them. Not that it translated to a W or anything, but it's still a bright spot on a bad day.
We need more than that. We need more than that. You need to stay healthy.
100%. And Adam Gase needs to be a better coach, but that's a whole different discussion.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I called it, though.
You did call it. All right. Speaking of something you didn't call that you were dead wrong on. I've been waiting all weekend for this, Chris. Since Sunday, I've been waiting. I've been literally licking my chops waiting for this. The Green Bay Packers versus Minnesota Vikings. 43-34. Aaron Rodgers, 32 of 44, 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Chris, you were wrong.
I was wrong. I'll admit it. But at the same time, are we really talking about Green Bay right now. We know
Yeah.
that they're gonna prove everybody wrong. I know it, but I had to go against them. I just have to go against them.
Why?
That's my thing right there. I just don't see it happening, bro. If they don't have any receivers to help them out, which I thought they didn't, but apparently they do. They have, a couple good receivers out there, and Lizard. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I like that guy.
Had a great game.
He's an up and coming wide receiver. I like him a lot. But I forgot the other receiver's name. What's his name?
Come on now.
Verdav. Something. It's something long. I forgot his name. Bro, whoever you are, bro, I'm sorry I butchered your name. I don't even want to try anymore. But we need you to catch the ball.
Couple drops.
Wide open in the red zone.
And in the end zone.
You have to catch the ball, bro. That's going to be the quickest way for you to get off the team. Aaron Rodgers will stop talking to you. His number is going to mysteriously change. Things like that is going to end up happening. So if you don't want that to happen, bro, and I'm going to get your name right because I believe in you. I've seen a couple other plays, and I was like, I'm impressed. But you need to get your game right, bro. Don't have any more drops like that.
I'm with it. But if you have a guy like Devontae Adams, you don't really need much else. 14 catches, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. He balled out against I don't even know how to describe the secondary after the Vikings being so dismantled by Aaron Rodgers after this game. I mean, it was embarrassing what A-Rod did to that team.
Yes, that's true. But still, the D-line still played a good role in that. The Vikings D-line still played a good role in that game, though. We can't take that away from them.
That's true, but Aaron Jones had a pretty good day too. 16 carries, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Not bad for the running back in Green Bay. Also, we're going to go to the second side. Now, I left off last week when we were talking about the Vikings, saying how Kirk Cousins does not deserve this contract, which I'm sticking to. He doesn't. Okay? He doesn't deserve it. Had a terrible first half. He did turn around in the second half, but didn't translate to anything, tangible. 19-25, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Not an impressive day for Kirk Cousins, but when you're going – yeah, true. But when you're going against Aaron Rodgers, you need a lot more than what you're giving. That's all I'm going to say. Yes, Dalvin Cook had 12 carries, 50 yards on 2 touchdowns on the day, and Adam Thielen had 6 for 110 and 2 touchdowns as well. The Vikings offense will be fine, I think. Give it a couple weeks. I think they'll just kind of have to figure it out a little bit more. Week 1's always a hard week to predict for really anybody. That's my excuse for the week, by the way.
COVID.
Especially with COVID as well, up and down on the injury report and the IR as well. So I'm going to give the Vikings a couple weeks before I give up on them. But as of right now, they're kind of on the down stock.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's a lot of teams that needs to get that chemistry going quickly.
Also, shout out to my roommate Jimmy in the background. Say hi, Jimmy. There he is. There he is. All right. Going into the next game, Philadelphia and Washington. Now, this was a surprise to everybody, I think. I really had no clue, no inclination that the Redskins, or the football team, I should say, had this in them, this kind of victory in them. 27-17 final score. Eagles blow a 17-0 lead. I think it says more about the Eagles than the Washington football team, but we'll get into that later. Carson Wentz, 24-42, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. The most important stat on the day, he was sacked 8 times. That is unacceptable.
Yes. That was bad. That was the first thing that I've noticed, that line needs to stout up a little bit. And let's also give a testament to the Washington Redskins for dialing up those plays.
100%. I'm with it on that. Ron Rivera actually had to get an IV at halftime for his cancer treatment, which was a whole different thing. Dwayne Haskins actually takes over takes the mantle, gives the halftime speech, and rallies the troops. They come back, storming. His talent, individually wasn't as impressive as I thought it would be. 17 of 31, 178, a touchdown, no interceptions. The no interceptions part I like. That was one of the biggest problems he had last year, was turning the ball over. So if you protect the ball like he did yesterday, they might actually have an okay time this year. Yeah, but the run game needs to be better for them. Peyton Barber was the leading rusher in the day. 17 rushes, 29 yards, 2 touchdowns. Average run, not great. Get in the end zone, that's good, but you need to move the ball down the field, manipulate it a little bit. You need a run game. You need a solid run game.
We need somewhere between 5 to 8 yards of play.
Exactly, I'm with that. Speaking of a terrible run game, the Philadelphia Eagles, while they did not have Miles Sanders, had a terrible day on the ground. Boston Scott was leading rusher, 9 carries, 35 yards, no scores. Guys, you need to do better. Carson Wentz cannot do this by himself. You need to do better.
Carson Wentz can do it by himself, and at the same time, Carson Wentz needs to do better as well. He needs to knock off the rust and get back into playing form.
Speaking of knocking off the rust, Dallas Goedert, the tight end from Philadelphia, 8 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Not a bad opening season or opening game for Dallas Goedert.
He's on the high note right now.
Exactly. And it's kind of an interesting storyline as well. Zach Ertz and the GM in Philadelphia had a falling out recently about a contract extension. Does Dallas Goedert take the mantle of starting tight end in Philadelphia? Do they trade Zach Ertz? Keep an eye on that, I think, coming down the line as well.
Yeah. Well, we know historically how that goes. Probably Ertz will end up going somewhere else next year and thriving somewhere else on a new team.
Right, exactly. Kind of like Greg Olsen did this past Sunday. We'll get to that as well later. Terry McLaurin also I want to shout out, 5 catches, 61 yards, no scores, but was an impact player the entire game. Next game, Cleveland and Baltimore.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 38-6 final score. Baltimore takes the mantle. Lamar Jackson continues MVP, campaign a year removed from his MVP win. 20 of 25, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also added 45 yards on the ground on 7 carries. Lamar Jackson looked great.
Yeah. He looked like how he just left off last year. Like there was no break in between. He was amazing. 3 touchdowns. That's the thing right there. 7 carries for 45 yards. You can't beat that as a quarterback.
You really can't. And he protected the football.
And he protected the football. But there was one play. I'm not gonna lie. There was one play that I looked on, and it was in the fourth quarter, I believe, fourth quarter of 3rd and 8. And Lamar goes out and he scrambles around and he's running and he's trying to make a play and get the first down. And then he gets wailed by the defender. And I'm sitting there looking around and I'm like, I don't see anybody telling this man to slide. Mm-hmm. You have Michael Vick in your back pocket. And I'm more than sure that he's telling you, just like he tells everybody else in the NFL that is a quarterback that can run, that you need to learn how to slide. Because if you don't, you're going to end up on the sideline a lot more than on the field. He needs to learn how to slide.
And we talked about this last week as well. I think we brought it up with Kyler Murray, with Lamar Jackson, with those guys that are, not run first, but run out of the pocket frequently. They don't slide a lot.
Yes.
All it takes is one hit and your career could be changed forever.
It's over with. Prime
example, Lamar's backup, RG3. You think RG3 would dime it into his head like, dude, slide.
The number 2 pick.
Exactly. And that frustrates me a lot as well. But we will give Lamar the benefit of the doubt because he is one of the most agile and elusive runners in the league, bar none.
Right.
I will shout out J.K. Dobbins as well. The rookie added 2 scores on the ground on 7 carries. Looked pretty good in short spurts. Didn't really have a lot of longevity during the game, but keep an eye on that as well. Actually, we had 2 guys I want to shout out offensively for the Ravens as well, receiving. Mark Andrews, who had one of the most amazing catches of the weekend, one-handed grab in the end zone for the first score. Yeah, phenomenal play. 5 catches, 58 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the day for Mark Andrews. And Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, 5 catches, 101 yards, no touchdowns. This dude added 20 pounds of muscle in the offseason, and it showed.
No, it definitely did, man. He's not getting pushed around as he usually would coming off the line. And of course, he still has his speed. So that's definitely a plus on there. And this guy makes tough catches. Mm-hmm. Like that's what you need from a receiver, especially a small receiver. You need to make some tough catches, even when, people don't expect you to make them. You need those.
I'm with that as well. Going on the other side of things, Cleveland. The Browns looked horrendous going into this week 1 game. Baker Mayfield, 21 of 39, 189 yards. He just looked very unimpressive.
Not at all. Not at all. He's out here missing wide open players underneath, and you're looking dead at him. I don't understand that. How are you an NFL quarterback? You're looking dead at the receiver, wide open, and you don't get him the ball.
And
it doesn't make sense to me. And then Odell is 3 for 32. Like, how does that make sense? That doesn't make sense to me at all. Something needs to happen where Baker probably needs to sit down and and bring in the backup quarterback and let him feel that pressure, or he needs to just go to therapy or something and figure it out, because it's not making sense for me right now.
And we talked about this last week as well. Baker Mayfield's biggest problem last year, one, non-pressured interceptions. He led the league in no pressure interceptions. That's a bad look for Baker Mayfield. And then, it translates to this year now where he's missing open receivers. You're a professional NFL quarterback. You were drafted number 1 overall. Dude, do your job. And last year as well, we saw the problem with Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield's connection. It just was not there. No. And the very interesting thing that came out earlier today, Odell Beckham Jr. trade rumors popping up again. And now, does that make sense for Cleveland? I'm starting to think it does.
It does.
Because it does not have a good fit right now for Cleveland right now. Baker Mayfield does not have that connection with Odell to make it worth your while to pay Odell the money you're paying him.
Exactly, and I was just going to bring that up. You're actually paying Odell and Jarvis Landry top 10 money.
Mm-hmm.
One of those need to go if it's not working. We need to put that money somewhere else to where this game can start going right again. You know what I'm saying?
And I guarantee you it's not Jarvis. I guarantee you it's not Jarvis.
Jarvis at all. No,
yep.
Jarvis was doing his job. It was Odell and Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. Those two guys are not on the same page, and they need to figure something out.
And it's not like they've had no time to prepare. They've had a year and a half to prepare. They've had the time to build the chemistry. They just haven't done it. And that's what really concerns me.
Listen, UCLA is 15 minutes away from me. Mm-hmm. That means that UCLA for Odell Beckham is 5 minutes away or 2 minutes away from me. I've been there working out with a numerous of players and watched Odell out there by himself. Now you're telling me that you have Cam Newton, who comes down to LA on a frequent basis to work out with his receivers, but Baker Mayfield can't come down here, or Odell can't go to where Baker is to work on his chemistry?
Classic Browns. That's all I'm going to say. Classic Browns. Speaking of the Browns, Jarvis Landry, one of the few bright spots on the Browns offense for the day, 5 catches, 61 yards, and Kareem Hunt, 13 carries, 72 yards. Overall, underwhelming day for the Browns, to say the very least. They have a lot of work to do.
I think they're going to get it. I think the run game is going to be their claim to fame, which is pretty much everybody's right now in the NFL. But if you stand behind Chubbs and Kareem Hunt, they're going to have a good year.
I'm with that as well. One of the biggest upsets of the year, not the year, of the week, Indianapolis and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
The Jaguars take the game 27-20. Minshew Mania continues. 19 of 20, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Guys, I said this last week during my power rankings. Gardner Minshew is doing everything in his power to stop the tank, and he's doing a great job after week 1.
Yeah.
He's doing a great job. And guys like Keenan Cole stepping up, 5 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown. Guys like James Robinson. Who the hell is James Robinson? 16 carries, 62 yards. They're all doing their part, and I guarantee you the Jaguars owner, Shad Khan, and their GM hate it because they did all these moves in the offseason, and I have no problem saying this on this radio station here. They wanted to tank for Trevor. That was every AFC scout's inkling. That was every GM's inkling. They knew what they were doing, and Gardner Minshew's going to stop that from happening. And I love it because I hate tanking. Anyway, going to Indy, Phillip Rivers, not a great day. 36 of 46, 363 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. Classic Phillip Rivers stat line. Turns the ball over, throws for a lot of yards, and not a lot of scores.
$25 million. You better not do that on your first week.
And I'm saying, and actually you made a good point about this last week when you're bringing a veteran quarterback to lead a kind of a younger team like the Colts. It doesn't work a lot. And I want to give you credit for that as well because it did not work this Sunday. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah, no, and again, it's this COVID stuff, but we got to at one point in time, using the COVID as an excuse on why teams aren't well prepared or things aren't working in their favor. It's going to have to go, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because I like Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is a good quarterback, but, this wasn't his best game.
Yeah, and it didn't really have a lot of help on the run either. Speaking of which, their starting running back Marlon Mack went down with an injury. And that's really a tough scene. I think he tore his Achilles. I think he's out for the year. But that does give leeway for Jonathan Taylor. We're both huge fan of Jonathan Taylor to take the reins in that Indianapolis Colts backfield. So I'm excited to see that. Take the positive with the negative. But speaking of which, that running back stable, Nyheim Hines, 7 carries, 28 yards and a touchdown. Great return specialist as well. He has a lot of value to that offense. And to finish it up, Paris Campbell, 6 catches, 71 yards, no scores, but had an effective game.
But Paris Campbell is a good player. I like him.
I think so too.
He made a lot of good catches, and he's very smart with his route running.
I would agree with that as well. Going on to the next game, Las Vegas. The Vegas Raiders took on the Carolina Panthers, and it was a close game up to the very end. 34-30 final score. Vegas edges it out. Derek Carr had a pretty decent game, 23 of 30, 240 yards, a touchdown, no turnovers. But my man, my fantasy leader, Josh Jacobs, 25 carries, 93 yards, and 3 touchdowns. This dude is a walking stiff arm.
Yeah. No, he's he's small, but he packs a punch for sure. I like him.
He's like a bowling ball.
He's a good runner. Yeah, he is a bowling ball. He reminds me, not actual size wise, but the running style of Jerome Bettis. That's who he reminds me.
I could see that as well. Even a guy like Derrick Henry, not as hard to bring down, but the same kind of pack of punch, not the size as well, but still.
Once you guys collide.
Yeah, exactly. No one wants to meet that guy in an open field or in a dark alley. Anyway, Henry Ruggs, 3 catches, 55 yards, but all 3 catches were pretty good highlight plays, and he showed me a lot stretching the defense in Carolina.
They're gonna get him more involved in this next game.
Sure. I think so as well. They have to, 100% have to. Teddy Bridgewater, 22 of 34 in the day, 270 yards, a touchdown, no turnovers. Disappointing from Teddy Bridgewater. I expected a lot more from him. I wanted to see him, kind of come out, slinging it. I wanted to see him kind of take over the game, but it just didn't happen.
Well, that's not his game, and we should know that, because last year, even though he was a solid player for the Saints last year, he didn't really wow you. It was just more of a let's make sure we win this game until Drew Brees comes back. So,
I would agree with you in that aspect. He's a game manager, historically, but yes. I just wanted to see him one game prove the haters wrong and just, ball out and just say, hey, Carolina's for real. Didn't do quite that, but actually had a pretty good game. Christian McCaffrey as well, 23 carries, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns, also added some value in the passing game like he always does. We said this last week as well. The ultimate football weapon is Christian McCaffrey. Robbie Anderson added 6 catches and 115 yards and a touchdown. Left him on the bench in fantasy, but still won, so that's all that matters.
No, I would take that as well.
Yeah.
As well.
And that's a big loss, I think, for the Jets as well. Robbie Anderson stretches the field for that entire offense, and he just adds a different element that Gang Green just lost and Carolina just gained.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I felt like Robbie Anderson was on the wrong team. It wasn't the wrong system, because he's a stretch the field type of a guy. He was just on the wrong team, and I think he found it. It might be a little early to say, but I'm gonna stick to my guns and say that he's going to be happy with it.
I hope so, too. I'm actually a big Robbie Anderson guy. If you can stay out of trouble, that's a whole different discussion. Anyway, Detroit and Chicago. Now, I'm going to go on a tangent here a little bit. Okay. There were 3 games that really screwed me with my picks this week. Detroit and Chicago, L.A. and Cincinnati, and finally Dallas and L.A. Mm-hmm. And I say that because all 3 at the very end of the game ruined it.
Yes.
Matt Stafford, Uncle Matt, drives them down the field after, a surprising Mitch Trubisky 4th and 3rd quarter. Mm-hmm. Drives them down the field, puts them in a perfect position to win the game, throws a beautiful pass to DeAndre Swift, the rookie running back, and he drops it in the end zone. You're a professional football player. Catch the damn ball.
Facts. But, that tells you there's no chemistry there. There's no chemistry there. You're telling me that what's his name again? What do you call him?
Uncle Matt? Uncle Matt.
Uncle Matt. Yeah, Uncle Matt. You're telling me that you guys don't convert us an important 3rd down play until the 2nd quarter of the game, the end of the 2nd quarter at that. Like, that's too long. That's too long for an NFL team anywhere at any level. You need to have 3rd down conversions and put some points on the board. But the bright spot, Adrian Peterson.
14 carries, 93 yards. What a opening day from all day, AP Adrian Peterson.
I'm trying to tell you. This is another one that you went against me with Adrian Peterson and him. You was talking about him and David Johnson. I remember it like it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. These two guys are showing you that they are still highly favored in this game and are going to put up it's going to put up a lot of points for you.
Wouldn't it be great if AP has a 1,000-yard season? Wouldn't that be unbelievable?
I would love it. If he does that, hopefully they call me back. I'll go back out there.
Yeah, for real. I'm about to say. But I will say, and this is kind of a bold claim, but if Adrian Peterson runs for 1,000 yards this year, he's top 5 all time.
Easy call. I was already giving them top 5 right now.
See, I'm not quite there yet, but if he does 1,000 yards this season, after all the hoopla he's dealt with the past couple of years, I will give him top 5.
Who are we talking about that's ahead of him? If you don't mind me asking, who's ahead of him?
Okay, do you want to get into this now, Chris? Right now, put him in the spot.
I just want to know.
Who's
ahead?
All right, off the top of the head, Jim Brown.
Okay.
Walter Payton.
Okay.
Barry Sanders.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Your eyes twitched a little bit. You're telling me Barry Sanders and him in the same category?
Come on. I got you.
Here's a hot one. O.J. Simpson.
That's what you going with?
Yeah, O.J. Simpson. Okay, prove me wrong.
4?
Huh?
4? Was that 4 right there?
That was 4, yep. Okay. And I got one more. I got to cook one up at the top of my head now because I didn't have the list prepared or anything. But let me think about it. Jonas Gray. I'm just playing.
I was about to say.
I'm just playing.
I was going to say.
I'm just playing.
I would have went with LaDainian Tomlinson.
LT, that works too.
I definitely would have went there.
I can see that too.
But AP is a different beast. That's my whole thing. I can see AP up there. I'm talking about above O.J. Simpson, even though they do have similar running styles. But he's more like Jim Brown, like a new version, like a new era Jim Brown. Like, I've never seen Jim Brown run. I've only seen it through film. But.
And I've never really thought to myself I'd be defending O.J. Simpson on live television or radio. But I will have to do it here. 14 games, 2,000-yard season. That's nothing to laugh about. You know what I mean? It's not to laugh about. That dude was bad in every essence of the words.
That's a good 5.
Anyway. Get back to the games here. Danny Amendola, 5 catches, 81 yards for the Lions. I will give Matt Stafford and the Lions offense in general a little bit of an asterisk against this loss here. Obviously, the catch at the end of the game, he had him in position to win the game. He had that's all you can do.
That was a tough pick.
And they didn't have Kenny Golladay, their number 1 receiver, who I said was top 10 last week. Now, and I know you said he was top 15, top 20, but anytime you're missing that kind of a quality player in your offense, you're going to struggle. So that's why I give him a little bit of an asterisk there.
That's valid.
We're going to the Bears side now. Mitch Trubisky, now, he had a bad first half as well, but then turned it the hell around. 20 of 36, 242 yards, and 3 total touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. He's a up and coming player. I mean, I can't really give him too much. We gave him chance after chance after he got drafted, and we were saying it was his line, then it was his receivers, and then it was the coaches, and now. Who are we blaming now? Like, are we going to blame Trubisky or are we going to blame who?
I'm going to blame Mitch. I'm still going to blame Mitch.
Yeah, I'm for sure blaming Mitch.
Yeah, 100%.
He needs to step his game up.
But yet, credit where credit's due. He won the ball game. That's all you can do as a quarterback. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Nick Foles showed his face a little bit.
Not next week.
You don't think so?
After this stat line and winning the football game with his great third and fourth quarter, no, I don't see it next week. Maybe down the line, like when Tyrod Taylor gets switched out, like eventually that'll be the same timeline I think that Nick Foles comes into the game. But we can talk about that down the line.
What are you talking about? Week 5, week 6?
Probably around there, yeah.
Okay,
yeah, around there. Yeah, the same Baker Mayfield timeline that happened with Tyrod Taylor. It's the same thing. It's the same thing every year. Anyway. Dave Montgomery, 13 of 64 rushing, not a bad game for the second-year pro. And Anthony Miller, who actually had a phenomenal game, 4 catches, 76 yards, and a tutty. The Bears, while they should have lost the game in general, did show me they're not incompetent. So that's one good thing for Chicago this week.
True.
100%.
I'll give you that.
Moving into the next set of games, Seattle at Atlanta. We both said this from the get-go. Seattle was going to thrash Atlanta, and that's what ended up happening. 38-25. Russell Wilson gets his first victory of the 2020 NFL campaign and does it in tremendous fashion. 31 of 35, 322 yards passing, and 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Russell Wilson is starting his MVP campaign right now.
Yeah.
And it's not debatable.
87.
Huh?
QBR of 87. That's really good.
That's really, really good.
Really good right there.
And to boot, was the leading rusher on the day for the Seahawks, 3 for 29. His run game did not help him out in the slightest, but it didn't matter because he was dominant through the air. Speaking of dominance, DK Metcalf, who you left on the bench, 4 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. He is a grown-ass man.
No. That is a fact. I feel like DJ Metcalf, they need to figure out how to intertwine him with the offense a little bit more because, we're still seeing a lot of Tyler Lockett, which is rightfully so. He needs to be on there because he's a great wide receiver. But we need to see some more out of DJ Metcalf and some more plays for him to go down the field because once he gets down there and he brushes the guy off with those huge arms that he got, that nice, that big physique that he has. I don't know if that sounds a little bit off or not, but, he's a specimen. And when he gets down the field, he's hard to stop.
I'm with you there. And not to mention, we talked about this last week as well. Guys, we're hitting all the points. You keep listening. We told this all last week. DK Metcalf is bigger, stronger, and faster than every defensive back in the NFL. And I have no problem saying it.
No, that is the absolute truth. But there's a lot of receivers that are bigger, stronger, and faster than these DBs.
But we're talking about DK. Anyway.
I don't know. DK is amazing.
Exactly. Going to the Falcons side of the ball, Matt Ryan was actually, not bad on the day. 37 of 54, 450 yards, and 2 touchdowns and a pick. He didn't do enough to win the football game, but he didn't get a lot of help from his defense either. That's for damn sure.
No. That was expected. The bright spot of the Falcons' defense is their linebackers. Let's just all be honest here about that. So I knew that passing was going to be the upside for Seattle. But what I want to say about Seattle's defense is that if they want to make it out of their division, they need to pick up more confidence in their passing defense because they were running out. So sometimes the Falcons were running free, and that's not a good sign when you're talking about Julio Jones and
Calvin Ridley
out there.
Yeah.
That's those are 2 really good, really fast wide receivers out there, and they need to figure out a way to not everybody has those 2 kinds of receivers on their team, but there are some really good receivers out there, and they need to figure out a way to toughen up that pass game.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they add Mohamed Sanu back as well.
He's free, right?
Yeah, he's free. He's available. He's in Atlanta right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a sign in a couple of days for him. But getting back to the game, Todd Gurley's debut for Atlanta actually went decently. 14 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. I was worried about the offensive line in Atlanta supporting his kind of run style, but it worked out pretty decently well week 1. We'll see how it kind of progresses going into next week.
It looks really good. And with the complement of Gurley with the receivers that they have, it's going to be a really good season for them. We need the defense. We need the defense to step up for the Falcons.
And it better than anybody. Defense wins championships. Going back to the game, Calvin Ridley, 9 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The third-year pro is looking elite. And I had no problem saying elite.
No, I'll go with you on that. I'll definitely go with you on that. You can't go in no other way when you have Julio Jones, who's on the other side of you, teaching you every step of the way. Mm-hmm. So you have no other choice but to be elite.
The best mentor.
Elite or you fold, and he's not folding anytime soon.
I'm with you on that. And getting to one of my favorite games I watched this weekend, Miami at New England. New England takes a W in Cam Newton's debut, 21-11, I should say. And Cam Newton's stat line, and I want to actually spend a lot of time on this because there's a very important thing to remember here in these stat lines, right? So Cam Newton, 15 of 19, 155 yards in the air, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Cam on the ground, 15 rushes, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, at face value, he was efficient. And that's the best word to describe what he did on Sunday. Efficient. The entire offense was efficient. They did what they needed to get done against Miami's defense and did it in a very, very satisfying way. But I have a problem with how that actually transpired. Until Cam Newton, and he's going to have to show it on Sunday against Seattle, until Cam Newton shows me that he can sit back there in the pocket and make these hard throws off these long, deep passes, I'm not going to buy into the hype yet. And I want to, and I'm saying that as a Patriots fan. I need to see more from Cam Newton in the pocket because the passes he did complete were to wide open receivers. It was almost college-level passing. That's kind of the setup they had going forward in New England because they forced him to stack the box, which Cam Newton did phenomenally because he ran the hell out of the football along with the entire stable in New England. But I have to see more of him passing because I will not buy into this until I see Cam Newton being an elite passer in this offense.
Well, that's what quarterbacks do. They're supposed to pass the ball, and if you're not passing the ball, you're not going to get far. And like I just said about the Seahawks, their run defense is second to none. So you're telling me that the run defense is out there, and Cam is trying to run past Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, Bruce Irvin. These guys are no slouches out here. Like these are notable guys that are in the NFL that are really good on defense. So yes, Cam needs to be able to throw the ball over 15 yards.
100%. And Seattle's, like you said, great run defense. Great run defense in Seattle. The Sunday test will be that. A test. 8:30 football, primetime game. Seattle, while there's no fans in the stadium, is still a very, very intimidating environment to walk into.
No, let me tell you, you're going to feel it. I remember when I was playing for Seattle and we were warming up and not everybody can't be in the stadium at once. There's couple guys gets in just off of, some luck, and then you have family members, but you can hear the fans on the outside of the stadium, and it is electrifying. So I'm pretty sure wherever the Seahawks are at, whether it's home or away, the fans are going to follow. The 12s are going to follow, and they're going to be there, and they're going to feel it, and Russell Wilson's going to be motivated off of it, and he's going to push the rest of his team to push forward no matter what circumstances they have in front of them and win a game.
And let's not forget, during the Beastquake, they caused an earthquake, a literal earthquake in Seattle. So let's not underrate the impact the 12s will have outside the stadium as well. That's a good point. Getting back to the Miami-New England game, Julian Edelman had 5 catches for 57 yards, had a big drop actually in the first quarter as well, which actually was kind of surprising and not very reassuring as a Patriots fan.
But then at the same time, he still made a couple great catches. I remember he ran a slant route over the middle, and he was about to get smacked. And he stuck his arms out, stretched out for it, and pulled and snagged it in for a first down, for a key first down. Like, those are things that Julian Edelman does. He makes sure he is a reliable wide receiver. And I like Julian Edelman a lot. But like I said, Cam has to throw the ball.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you look at N'Keal Harry, right? He had a decent game, but he had a fumble in the end zone, caused a turnover. It cost Cam his first passing touchdown in New England. For the Patriots to be successful this year, they're going to have to make a move. And after they cut Sanu and they made a plethora of other different roster moves, they have about $26 million in the cap right now. That's enough to get a guy like Odell Beckham Jr. That's enough to get a guy like Allen Robinson who's on the block. There's a lot of potential there for the Patriots to go grab a receiver. I think they need to get one right now.
Work, though. And I'm talking about specifically Odell. Like, would that really work? We already talked about Cam runs the ball 15 carries for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then he completes 15 of 19 for 155 yards. Odell needs 155 by itself.
Right, and I look at that and I say the New England offense does not have a true, not deep threat, but a guy who can stretch the field. Odell Beckham Jr. can stretch the hell out of any defense he plays in.
Correct.
Yeah, we have Damiere Byrd, who, he fumbled the ball, lost his punt return responsibilities. Julian Edelman took over after the first punt. And Gunnar Olszewski's still out. He's on the IR now. You don't really have a guy behind Edelman or N'Keal Harry. So no matter what they do, they need to add receiving talent. I just think Odell would be the best person fitted for that role, because if you can add a guy like him who can stretch the field, that makes Edelman that much more wide open. That gives N'Keal Harry one-on-ones in the red zone. That opens up the entire offensive attack. Now, the problem that you'll run into with Odell Beckham Jr. potentially becoming a New England Patriot is the attitude problem. Because if he's not getting his touches, and if this offense last week serves as any inclination or tip for that, he won't be getting his touches that he deserves, just like he's doing in Cleveland. So does that cause a locker room problem? Did it become a cancer like he was in New York? Like, what happens on that front? And that worries me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. You sound like a New England fan right now, and it's not working for you right now. But I'm letting you go along with it. I'm telling you, I know for a fact that Cam and Odell are really good friends.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any outbursts. Odell was just a young kid when he was with New York. He was a young kid trying to figure it out. Then once he had a chance to sit down with Victor Cruz and a couple of other guys that were still there to help him realize how big of a talent he is, it changed for him. You no longer heard any rumblings about Odell being a bad locker room. Being a bad locker room teammate. Everything was all positive. Even now with Cleveland, he's doing a terrible job over there. You still don't hear anything bad about him coming out of the locker room. So I don't think that is going to be a problem for Odell if he goes to the Patriots. What I think is going to be a problem for him is that Cam is not a thrower like that.
I would agree with you on the second part there. I might debate you on the first one. And the reason why I would say that is because typically in New England, you have a certain culture, right? You have the football first, personal image second, all for the football team, one for all for one, that kind of stuff, right? And Cam Newton, right, obviously previously did not, display those same values. He comes in here and behaves himself really so far. He hasn't had any upsets or anything. But then the end of the game happens, right? He's talking shit all game, as he should, because he is dukeying all over the Miami Dolphins defense running. But then he gets into a fight at the end of the game. They try to snatch his chain. He gets in somebody's face. They start going at it a little bit. You don't see that a lot from New England Patriots. And I don't really care what position. You really don't see that kind of behavior. And so what I'm worried about is a culture shock. Because like you said last week, Tom Brady leaving the Patriots left a wide gap. Whether that means, less than success for the team, that remains to be seen. But you said there would be a culture shock, and I would agree with you there. And this is the prime example of that. So if the team looks to Cam Newton and sees that kind of behavior, right, he gets into a fight. It's not all his fault. I will grant you that. But I will say it creates a certain dynamic that goes against the Patriot way.
It might go against the Patriot way, but there's always a new way. And when I say that is because Cam Newton is that spark that the Patriots need. They need to see that come out of him. Did nobody say I'm sorry. Did nobody say anything about Tom Brady getting up in defensive players' faces and screaming at them and putting his arm out, talking about first downs and stuff like that? Don't nobody ever talk about Tom Brady doing that and showing his emotion. But because Cam Newton is doing it and he's a new player on the team, it's a problem. Like, there's nothing wrong. I would say because he has passion on it. He wears his passion on his sleeve.
I would say Cam definitely celebrates more than Brady does. I say Cam definitely talks more shit than Brady does, but that's just me. It's
all a part of the game.
It is all a part of the game, but I'm just comparing.
Let's talk about Odell. All
right.
Odell is coming in. He is notably one of the best wide receivers in the game. Mm-hmm. Can we say that? Is that fair to say?
Not the last season, but he has he has elite talent. Yes, we'll go with that.
Elite talent. There you go. Let's talk about Randy Moss. Moss was another person that everybody was like, oh, he's a cancer to the team. He's not going to work. He's not going to fit. Came out and had probably one of the best years in Patriots' career. As a wide receiver. Then you had Chad Johnson, who everybody knew was outspoken. I honestly feel like Chad Johnson and Odell are one and the same.
I hope not.
I
I hope not, because how did Chad Johnson do in New England?
But he was able to stick in there for a little bit. He didn't do much, because he couldn't keep up with the playbook.
He didn't do anything.
He wasn't a cancer on the team. The only problem that he had was off the field, and that's nobody's business.
Well, his problem was on the field. He was a bad New England Patriot.
He couldn't get the playbook down, but it wasn't like he couldn't play. Come on now, Chad Johnson.
I love Chad Johnson. Ocho is one of my favorite. Ocho is one of my favorite receivers of all time, and I agree with you. He couldn't get the playbook down, but that's all part of the game as well. I want to go back to Randy Moss.
Okay.
First year, right? 23 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Randy Moss is Randy Moss again. You know what I mean? How did Randy Moss's relationship end in New England? Do you remember?
No, I don't. What happened?
It goes something like this. Him bitching up the coaching staff and becoming a diva again and then getting shipped off. That's how it went. He got released and signed by the Vikings, and he played on Halloween that next week. That's how it ended. And now, when you look at Odell Beckham it's my turn, Chris. It's my turn.
I got to fact check that.
Anyway, no, that's what happened. You can look it up all you want, but what I'm saying is,
mm-hmm.
On those lines, Odell Beckham Jr. is in the prime of his career. How old is he? 26? Something like that, 26, 27, right? When you have a guy like that who has a lot of his future ahead of him still,
mm-hmm.
do you want the same tendencies you see in Randy Moss? Because if so, you'll have him for 2 seasons.
I do.
You want him for 2 seasons? You want him for 2 seasons and don't have him flame out?
That's what Bill Belichick does. He takes damaged property, Cam Newton, and he brings them onto the team, and they ball for a little bit, and then they move on.
Okay, but the common denominator between Cam Newton and Randy Moss, almost little to no risk. 4th-round pick for Randy Moss. Nothing for Cam Newton. What will it take to get Odell Beckham Jr. on this team? A hell of a lot more than that. But we're on a tangent here. Great conversation, great debate. We're going to move on a little bit, though. We're kind of falling behind here. Going back to Miami, New England, Fitzpatrick did not play like September Fitzpatrick usually does. 20 for 30, 191 yards, no scores, 3 interceptions. Bad game for Fitzmagic.
For sure. And then, I just feel bad. I feel bad for him because it wasn't just him. It was the receivers as well. When you're talking about you have man-to-man coverage, as a wide receiver, we're looking at – as a wide receiver personally, I'm looking at man-to-man as I'm going to be open. All I have to do is make the catch. And they weren't doing that. Nobody was getting open. Fitzpatrick was getting – had the whole offensive line and defensive line in his face, and he's out here trying to make things happen on the run, and that's not really Fitzpatrick's forte. And it showed. It showed.
Hey, how's New England's secondary looking, Chris? How's it looking? Yeah. I'm about to say, you disrespect Stephon Gilmore last podcast. Interception, locked up Devontae Parker. He had 4 catches for like 40 yards. Dookie, nothing. You know who J.C. Jackson is now, Chris?
Well, can we all admit that it was the Miami Dolphins?
I'm with you, but I need to get on you for that because J.C. Jackson, you laughed in my face, Chris, about J.C. Jackson. You laughed in my face. He had a phenomenal football game. I don't care what you say.
It happens. You can have a game. Any game Sunday.
I'll take the game. Anyway, next game, and this was a heartbreaker too for me. L.A. versus Cincinnati. Joey B, Joe Burrow, Joey Heisman, Joe Cool. Joe Burrow walks in to Cincinnati Stadium and has a pretty good football game. Stat-wise, not great, but it was energy. It was energy in the stadium. Joe Burrow, 23 of 36, 193 yards, no passing touchdowns and a pick, but rushing, which no one saw coming in my view, 8 carries for 46 yards and a tutty. And that touchdown run was special. But the thing that stood out to me to Joe Burrow was his confidence. Joe Burrow, at the end of that football game, charges down the field, leads his team down the field, and puts his team in position to win. There was a touchdown pass to my guy, A.J. Green, and then they call offensive pass interference. First of all, refs, stop getting involved in the end of these games. Let the players play. I get so pissed off about this stuff because you're literally costing the Bengals an actual football game. And I will grant you, the cornerback that was covering A.J. Green, I'm not sure who it was. It might have been Chris Harris. I'm not sure. Sold it great. he acted great. He deserves an Oscar for his performance in that end zone.
I think it was Chris Harris, but he's a veteran, so
and it makes sense. But let's agree right here and now that was not offensive pass interference. That was a horrible call.
Not at all.
A horrible call.
I'm always on the offense side.
And that takes away, I guess legacy-wise, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Joe Burrow's signature W should have been this game for the rookie year. It should have been this game. And it pisses me off that it wasn't. And obviously pisses me off because I picked him to win the game as well. But that's a whole different story. Joe Mixon, 19-69 on the ground. Not a bad game for Joe Mixon and company. And A.J. Green, Q forgot about Dre. We got to put this on a rotating cuff here. A.J. Green, 5 catches, 51 yards, and a should-be game-winning touchdown. But we can't hold him against him for that. T-Mobile, Tyrod Taylor, 16 of 30, 208 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. The most average stat line in NFL history. Bring on Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen from Justin Herbert, he's not doing too well out there as well. Something needs to happen. I don't know, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm all on Tyrod Taylor's side. I feel like he's a phenomenal quarterback. He managed the games well. He's good with throwing and passing, but it just seems like every time that he gets that starting role, he ends up giving it up. I don't know if it's in his head or what, but he just finds a way to give up his position. So I hope he doesn't do it this time. I hope he, figures it out and they knock off the rust and get back to playing football the way that they're supposed to.
And I said this last week as well. I loved him in Buffalo with LaShawn McCoy up there. I think it was a great three-way headed dragon with Sammy Watkins too up there. I think he had a phenomenal, great career in Buffalo. But like you said, it always seems to happen towards the middle part of the season. He loses these starting jobs. So
and he has a lot of tails.
A lot of tails. That remains to be seen.
Tyrod Taylor has a lot of tails. I remember coming back from a game and we were getting ready for Buffalo, and I remember watching one of my close friends. One of my close friends, he was watching film on Buffalo, and he was telling me, he was like, "Yeah, if you ever watch Tyrod, if he has his right foot back, he's getting ready to do a read option, but if he's standing even footed, he's gonna drop back to pass. So that may be something that he needs to fix up, and that's a tell that everybody knows now, and he needs to fix that so he can help out.
Because of you, he's exposed Tyrod Taylor.
No, it can't be because of me, because I found out somebody else. Darius Smith, he told me. I was going over there to hang out with him, and he told me.
Anyway, Austin Eckler, 19 carries, 84 yards on the ground, and Hunter Henry had a great game, 5 catches for 73 yards. But I think the main point that impressed me during this entire game, the Bengals defense showed out. And while the Chargers offense isn't super loaded with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, it was still an impressive show to only to go 16 points when you were supposed to get routed.
Yes. No, they did a great job. I'll give them that. I don't like to give defense too much praise. But.
Yeah, so this was the first game that really grinded my gears because of the pass interference call and stole a victory from Joe Burrow and myself. And we'll get to the second. we'll get to the second one pretty soon.
You are really salty about me.
I am salty, dude. Because think about it, right? If we want to do numbers here right now, right? You went 12-4 in the week, and I went 7-9. Let's count some of these victories, right? Detroit and Chicago, right? That's no victory for me. That should be counted, right? Cincinnati and LA. I picked Cincinnati. You picked LA. That should be a victory for me, right? Mm-hmm. Dallas and LA we'll talk about later, but a terrible pass interference call at the end of the game as well. Dallas should have won that game. That's W for me again. Like there's a lot of like little tidbits here that really screwed me over, but I sound like a sore loser, and I am a sore loser, but I'll get you back next week. I'm
a sore loser too. You'll probably see it if I lose.
Exactly. All right. And this is gonna hurt too, Chris. So back to back. Arizona and San Francisco. And this is the one game I'm holding my head high for because I picked Arizona and you picked your hometown San Francisco 49ers. And the Cardinals pulled it off. 24-20 final score. The Cardinals launch a great red zone stand to finish off the game. Kyler Murray, 26 of 40, 230 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Also added 91 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Phenomenal game from the second-year pro.
Yeah, no. I am actually pretty high on Kyler Murray right now. Mm-hmm. That him and D Hop are in a dynamic duo right now. They showed me a lot, and I did not expect that from them. I thought it was going to be, because they're new and they're just trying to get in the groove of each other. Like, you guys can be friends and have chemistry off the field because you guys hang out and, visit the same areas, things like that. But it doesn't equate to the same thing as the chemistry you need on the field. And they actually proved me wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kyler.
Now, I want to hear your thoughts on Jimmy Garoppolo. He went 19 of 33, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. What were your thoughts on Jimmy Garoppolo in the clutch of this game?
He's a solid player.
Solid player.
He's a solid player. Things happen. Things happen. It's part of football. It's any given Sunday, like I said before. But and I'm not even gonna blame. I'm not blaming Jimmy G at all. I'm honestly blaming the coaching staff. I am honestly tired of watching all of these play actions, these slow play actions, like we're still in college. Like, we need to get the ball downfield. Like, let's do a simple 5-step drop and back up and throw the ball. Let's get a couple receivers out here who are dying to break out for us and give them a chance. Or if you want to keep it with the run game, let's let Mostert continue catching the ball for us. Let's keep on feeding him. But with these play actions, I'm not feeling the play actions. I've never been a play action guy. I've never really liked it because it's just too much going on, and you have to worry about too much. And I don't blame. I don't blame Jimmy G. I'm still on this side. You're not gonna get nothing from me.
And I wanted to get something out of you. I wanted a little soundbite. Anyway, Raheem Mostert, speaking of which, phenomenal game. 15 runs, 56 carries 56 yards on the ground, 4 catches, 95 yards through the air, and a touchdown. He played a phenomenal football game. But the star of the show throughout the entire game was DeAndre Hopkins. 14, double-digit 14 catches for 151 yards. He looked phenomenal.
I can guarantee you. Actually, we could bet.
Okay.
49ers will not lose to the Cardinals again.
Oh. And I don't want to bet against that because I think they probably split the season series. But I will be interested to see the playoff dynamic because I do think 3 teams from the NFC West will make the playoffs. So they will meet. I think they'll meet again.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So if they split the season series, I cannot wait to watch playoff football, Arizona versus San Francisco.
All right, we'll save the bet for that time.
We'll save it for that time. Anyway, this was tough to see as a Patriots fan and more importantly as a Tom Brady fan. Saints and Bucks, 34-23. And guys, the stat sheet will tell you it's closer than it was. But if you watch that football game, watch the whole thing, all the way through, it was not close at all. Tom Brady, 23 of 36, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, one of them being a return for a touchdown by Janoris Jenkins. And Drew Brees just straight up outdoing him. 18 of 30, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. It was just not a good day for Tom Brady and company.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows you that the coach, that Sean Payton and Drew Brees are that much in sync that they can't skip a beat over there. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady is still trying to figure it out. I don't know what's going on with Mike Evans and him, but they need to.
Yeah, I was about to say, you bring up Mike Evans, and the first interception of Brady's tenure with Tampa Bay Buccaneers happened on a throw to Mike Evans. Mike Evans was running, I think, kind of like this deep dagger route down the middle on the cover 2, and he stopped short, and Brady threw it to the middle where he was supposed to be going. Miscommunication, safety picks it off.
Yeah, can't do that. You can't break your route off.
And the second pick was interesting to me because it shows me. And I don't want to say this too prematurely because I think they'll turn it around eventually, but it shows me old man syndrome. And I want to say this because that outside throw, right, on the second interception, the pick 6, he waits too long to throw the ball, throws off his back foot, and throws it behind his receiver. Tom Brady's been in the league for 20-plus years and made his money on throwing those short intermediate passes, right? He knows how to throw that ball, but thought he could fit it in there with his arm strength, and he couldn't do it. And I know it's only one play, it's only one, game, and not to overreact from it. But Tom Brady, and I said this early in the offseason before you signed on with us, I said Brady might be the reason that the Buccaneers don't succeed this year. And if this game's any inclination, I was right.
Well, I mean, I think the reason why he did that is because all of you Tom Brady friends were telling the rest of the world that his arm is stronger than last year.
Oh, hold on a second. I never said that. I never said that.
If it wasn't you, it was somebody over there.
Blame Babs. We're using Babs as a scapegoat.
Use Tom Brady, and I'm like, yo, age, that happens. You know, you can't turn back the time on Father Time. So, you know, Tom Brady, he probably was listening to you guys. That's the only other logical explanation I can give you for that pick.
And as a fan of the game, and as a Patriots fan, as a Tom Brady fan, I just do not want to see him go through what Peyton Manning went through in 2015. Like, and I know he won a championship to close out his career, and he was like, "Oh, Peyton Manning led him to the championship." No, he didn't, dude. He had a noodle arm, threw like 17 picks. His defense, Von Miller literally had him on his shoulders the entire season and won a championship. And I just don't.
If truth be told, that's how Tom Brady got his last 3 rings.
No, his first 3 rings. His last 3 rings are on Tom Brady. Are you kidding me, dude? Look back into the history. The Patriots won the first 3 rings because of the defense.
I'm sorry. What happened? What happened when they played against the Rams? What happened? Did he score? Did Tom Brady go down and score?
He did not score. No, he did not.
Okay. So you can't sit there and tell me that Tom Brady it was the reason for them to get a ring.
Not in 52 or 53 or whatever the hell it was. 51? 51?
The last 3 rings were not because of Tom Brady. It was because of you guys' defense.
You're officially a Tom Brady hater. I'm casting you off the island. That's it.
I just can't believe that you really just fixed your lips to say that Tom Brady won. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say.
I say this as a Patriots historian. If you look back at that defense, 2001, 2003, 2004, that was some of the best defenses of all time. And I had no problem saying that. Ty Law, Richard Seymour, Willie McGinnis, Lawyer Malloy, Rodney Harrison, Teddy Bruschi. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. These teams were elite, and they were because of the defense. 2001, if Brady leads a team from, say, 2016, that defense, right, matched 0-1 Brady with 2016 defense, they go like 8-8. 9-7, 10-6, around there. The defense carried them to the first 3 rings. And if you want to make the argument they carried to the last 3 rings as well, you can. But that just means Tom Brady was assistant quarterback. That's what you're trying to say to me right now. And you can believe that if you want to. But I know, and everybody else in New England knows, he's the greatest of all time. And there's a reason why. It's because he was elite his entire career. Anyway, going back to the game.
2019, 13-3 against the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And he turns around and he does – okay, I'm not even gonna bring that up because we tricked that game off. 28-24. It wasn't all the way.
Spoken like a true Seahawk. Like a true Seahawk.
And then okay, I'll give him 2017. 2017, 34-28. That was just an epic bust by the Falcons, and they just gave him that. But I can't give Tom Brady that he still has it, and he's giving you all he has for this last year because it's not happening. It proves his history's proven that he's not producing any points. That's why he's gone. That's why he's gone.
He won MVP like 2 years ago.
But that's why he's gone, because he can't throw the ball like he used to.
And I agree with you. We're arguing about different things right now. I'm trying to defend Tom Brady historically. I'm saying right now he's not going to succeed, and we're agreeing on that part.
Historically, yes, he's going down as one of the best.
The best.
He has
no, the best.
The best.
The best.
Right,
don't shake your head. The best. I want you to say with me. Tom Brady's the greatest player of all time.
It's only because of the rings. But anything else, you can't bring it in. You can't.
I need to hear you say it, Chris.
He's not passing the ball. He's just a facilitator.
I need to hear you say it, Chris.
To help the defense move along.
Chris, I need to hear you say it before we move on.
I think defense. To be honest with you, 2015, I think the defense scored more points.
Chris, keep monologuing. I need to hear you say it before we move on.
I'm sticking.
I'll let a Zoom call right now.
I'm sticking tall to mine.
Oh, my God, this guy. Anyway, Jared Goff not Jared Goff. My bad. Latavius Murray and AK-41, Alvin Kamara actually combined for a deadly run game duo against the Buccaneers defense, which was surprising considering Devin White is supposed to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Jared Cook was a leading receiver for the Saints, 5 catches, 80 yards. And like we said a couple weeks ago, the Bucs' leading receiver was Chris Godwin. Was for a reason. I mean, I said it on our first interview together all time. He'd be a better player this year than Mike Evans just because of scheme fit with Tom Brady. And that proved to be true this week.
True.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, the last game to grind my gears. And because of officiating, Dallas versus LA. LA, the Rams get the W 20-17, and it's because of the refs again. And I know Stephen A. Smith's somewhere laughing about it, but I have to say right now, this was bullshit. And it's because of the refs. Michael Gallup dominated Jalen Ramsey and had a phenomenal last catch on that route. It was not offensive pass interference. This dude barely touched him, and Jalen Ramsey flopped like he was Leonardo DiCaprio. It was unbelievable. And it pisses me off. It is a part of the game, but it pisses me off. The officials need to stay out of the end of the game. They have to stay out of it. They have to.
I'm gonna tell you what it was. Malcolm Brown had 18 carries for 79 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I'm with you.
That's it, right there. That's
I'm
it.
With you.
You can't stop the run game.
Oh, but I want to highlight one thing. Jared Goff's stat line, 20 of 31, 275 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. To emphasize again, Jared Goff isn't good at anything. He is not good at anything except handing the ball off.
He's not my quarterback.
Not my quarterback ever. Ever. I just want to keep – every show I want to work in there at some point. Jared Goff isn't elite at anything. I want to work that in somewhere, every show.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that. He's definitely milking the system right now, and he's getting paid for it handsomely.
Speaking of the system, Robert Woods had a phenomenal football game. 6 catches, 105 yards. But every time he caught the ball, it seemed to affect the game at a whole different level. He was transcendent on Sunday night, so props to Robert Woods. As for the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, 25 of 39, 266 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Dak, man-to-man here. You want to look me in the eyes if you're watching this, because you definitely are. When you have 3 number 1 receivers in Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup, you cannot put up 17 points and only put up 1 touchdown. It's unacceptable. And you want $40 million? Jerry Jones, don't pay this man.
I think it's a tough time for them right now because they're trying to figure out what are they going to do with their receiving core and Ezekiel Elliott. I hope me and you can be on the same page with this one. Mm-hmm. Ezekiel Elliott looks like a totally different player.
Granted, he had 22 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown. Granted, but I'm with you.
That guy is looking totally different. This is an even different Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, you can say fat.
Ohio State.
You can say fat. Like you can say that on you can say that on here. You can say that. This dude literally has the words "feed me" on his stomach. Like you can say it. He's fat. Like he's gotten fat. You can say it.
No. What? Wait.
He's got a little fat.
I thought we were on the same page. He's not fat.
He's got a little
Those
fat.
are abs. Those were abs.
He's got a little fat.
Those were abs.
He's got a little
now,
fat.
Last year, yeah. Year before, kind of, sort of. This year, he came back dedicated. He came back ready to play a game because they have people out there who are putting smut on his name.
I'm a big Zeke guy.
Best running backs in the game.
He's top 3 running back, I think, in the league right now. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's fat as a derogatory thing, because I think that extra pound is actually helping him when he's facing those kind of bigger linebackers that he was having trouble with in the open field.
I honestly don't see it. I think he's slimmed down tremendously. He has his abs back. You know what I'm saying? He put the little tattoo down there to show that that you need to feed him.
That was fun. That was funny. No matter how he says that was funny. I laughed. I audibly laughed when I saw that on television.
It was. Because I had to, it even had me, pause the TV. Like, what is that? Oh, feed me. Okay. All right. I mean, that's a weird area to put it at, but, go ahead, man. Do your thing.
I was about to say. And speaking of which, the rest of Dallas Cowboys, Amari Cooper, 10 catches, 81 yards. And I wanted to highlight Michael Gallup because he would have had the catch to, seal the deal for the Cowboys. But obviously Jalen Ramsey won an Oscar and sold the officials on the pass interference call and really ruined the game for me. And ruined my week, kind of. It kind of ruined my week.
It's all a part of the game.
It's part of the game.
You can't knock it.
Well, I will knock it, actually. I am going to knock it. I am going to knock it because the officials, and I'm going to compare this over the entire course of the season. refs, stay out of the last 2 minutes of football games. Stay out of it.
But then this is here is where I come back in as a rebuttal to you.
Okay.
We were always told as not even football players, just athletes, period. Basketball, football, soccer, baseball. One of the biggest rules in the game of sports is you never put it in the hands of a referee because you don't know what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. He could be getting paid underneath. He can like a team more than the other, or he could just be oblivious to the world. Mm-hmm. You never know. So if you're going to put the game in his hands, then you got to be prepared to accept the consequences. And Jalen Ramsey played it well.
I will say Jalen Ramsey, on top of being, probably the best one-on-one defender in the NFL, secondary-wise, did sell that thing like he was acting, and it was impressive to see. But it pissed me off. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. You're going to be pissed off, Chris. Anyway, moving on. Pittsburgh and the Giants. Now, 26-16 final score. Pittsburgh takes the W. We're not surprised by this. We both picked the Steelers for a reason. Big Ben actually came back in fashion. 21 of 32, 230 yards passing, and 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. In the first quarter, he looked a little rusty. He got his chemistry back, getting his on-field mentality back into shape. But just like he dropped 30 pounds, he dropped almost 30 points and showed out against the Giants.
Yeah, he definitely did a great job, especially at that 2 minute warning. I mean, that 2 minute offense that he had right before the half, where he basically threw the ball to Juju every play, and they went down and they scored, and they went in with their heads high on during that halftime. So I could see them playing really well for the coming years. I mean for the coming season.
Definitely, and Ben Roethlisberger was not alone.
Give a run for the Ravens.
Yeah, we'll see about that. That's a hot take, but I like that take actually. Anyway,
defense.
Ben Roethlisberger was not alone last night. Benny Snell, little known Benny Snell, 19 carries, $113 on the ground. What a night for Benny Snell.
Mm-hmm. No, he had a great night, man. I give it to him. It's unfortunate, to see Connor go down, but Benny Snell. He didn't do anything to keep him on the bench. They might, I've seen it plenty of times from a lot of great players who get hurt, and then you get another young guy who's probably not getting paid as much, and they get in and they start playing, and then they forget about the next one. I've seen it plenty of times. It hurts, but it's part of the game.
And we personified this in New England as well. Next man up mentality, and that's what Benny Snell did last night.
Exactly what he did.
And Juju Smith-Schuster kind of silenced some people last night because people were saying he's not a true number one receiver. Well, 6 catches for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns proves otherwise.
No, that definitely proves that you're a good receiver. Mm-hmm. It doesn't prove that you're a number one receiver.
Okay, but I will say the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, no, I understand what you're trying to say, but the Pittsburgh Steelers offense in general have some deep talent at the receiver position. I mean, like they have some real players out there, and it was shocking to me last night how efficient they were down the field. Well, speaking of efficiency, I loved this kid last night. He made a couple stupid mistakes, but I loved this kid last night. Daniel Jones, 26 of 41, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, added 20 yards on the ground. Saquon Barkley got shut down last night. Yeah. And Danny Dimes picked up the slack. A couple drives there. He had a 19-play drive. Granted, he threw a pick in the end zone at the end of the drive, but he showed command of the offense. He really took over this game in certain aspects. And I loved what I saw from him down the stretch.
Yeah. Do you think Daniel Jones, do you think he's still getting pointers from Eli Manning, or is that just gone?
And I look at that, and I have to say yes, because him and Peyton were backing him up huge in the biggest fashion possible during the draft. They were saying, like, this is the next kid. He's the next, quote-unquote, Manning. Like, he went to the Manning Pass Academy. Like, he's the next, big thing. And people were saying, like, he went to Duke. This kid sucks, like, whatever. Yeah. And last year showed some flashes, and now he shows a command of the offense, and that comes from a Manning. That comes from Eli, that comes from Peyton, that comes from Arch, that comes from all of them. Because when you come in, like you said, that first year is just a trial run. Second year is when, you really tested. Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones showed command, not just elite talent. He showed command, and that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, no, I like him. I like him a lot. I got him on my fantasy. I'm just waiting for him to show up. With him and Jason Garrett over there.
Definitely.
Hopefully they put some things together and they start coming out.
And it was weird seeing Jason. It was weird seeing Jason Garrett in a Giants polo too. That was a little bit weird.
Not for me. Not for me. I've been wondering when he was going to get out of Dallas. Either he was going to leave or they was going to kick him out. He was.
They probably should have fired him a long time ago too. To be honest with you. But anyway, Daniel Jones' favorite target last night was Darius Slayton. 6 catches, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The rookie from last year looked phenomenal in his debut.
Mm-hmm.
Looked great.
No. You're right. You're talking about
Darius Slayton.
Darius Slayton. Yeah. He definitely did good. I like him.
What do you think I said?
I was thinking about something totally different.
Oh, all right, never mind. Yeah. Anyway, last game of the night, Denver, Tennessee, doubleheader on Monday Night Football because, as you guys know, there's no buys during the first week of the season. Anyway, Tennessee takes the W 16-14 in a highly contested game. Another young guy, second-year guy, Drew Lock, 22 of 33, 216 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Not the most impressive stat line, but he made some serious big-time throws in this game.
No, he did. He shows that he's trying to take those steps towards being a franchise quarterback. I like him. He still made a couple of mistakes, but he's a solid player. I like him.
Definitely.
But overall it was a slow game.
It was a very slow game.
I probably fell asleep once or twice on that game.
Yeah.
Slow, but overall it was a good game. I like it.
Yeah, no, it was a slow game. You're right, but I will say Ryan Tannehill proved me wrong last night. 29 of 43, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Had a very efficient game, but not even efficient, a very good game.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry, like Derrick Henry only does, 31 catches, 116 yards rushing. He was just dominant last night, like he always is.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Bro, he's like a Mack truck going through a small hole. He is gonna bust right through it. Did you see who was it? It was his teammate. I think they was running a outside zone play.
Yeah.
And the center, number 60, I forgot his name, for his team, literally was blocking somebody and got turned around. And Derrick Henry just put his head down and went straight through his chest. Now, I'm talking about this guy is 308 pounds at 6'3". And he pushed him like he was a pillow.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry is a grown man playing against boys out there.
Psychotic.
And it shows.
Literally psychotic. But another tough loss for me coming down to the very wire. Steven Gostkowski misses 3 kicks and makes the final one. Go figure, I guess. And he'll be out of a job, I think, by
missed field goals. It was a lot of missed field goals.
And he'll be out of the job, I think, by tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday, I should say.
Absolutely not.
I think so. You missed that many kicks in the clutch for Mike Vrabel, you're gone.
He's a proven kicker. Kickers mess up. The most kicks he's ever missed was 5, and that was like back 3-4 years ago, or 3 years ago.
What I'm gonna say about Steven Gostkowski, 2015 AFC Championship game against Denver, misses that field goal or extra point in Denver, and that struck his entire confidence. And since then, has not been the same player. And I won't budge on that.
But he hasn't missed no more than 5 kicks a whole season.
He missed 3 last night.
So that might be it for him.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
He might go on a run. That's just like Justin Tucker. He misses 1 kick out of the whole year, and he's messed up. But then he comes back the next year. I mean, he comes back the next game and hits every kick. Mm-hmm. It's a part of it. Everybody has to go through their little growing pains, and that was just his, and it happened to be in the first game. And
kickers are weird like that too. They're very up and down. They're very, I don't know how to describe it, but they're a very weird breed. Kickers are a very weird breed.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't even fathom what goes through their head when you're talking about
superstitious. Well, that's the word I was looking for.
Not controlling the ball with your hands, but you're controlling the ball with your foot to go through 2 very narrow uprights.
Yeah, with wind.
Yeah. Usually it's with the crowd, but now you have the crowd noise coming out of intercoms, which I feel like that's going to play a huge factor in a couple games down the stretch. And somebody might cheat and do a little bit more than usual, but
I can see that.
That's part of the game.
I agree with you there.
I
Those are
think
that's
it's
the
very hard for kickers.
that's the recap for week 1. And first of all, hell of a week, hell of a debut week for the NFL in general.
Yes,
I want to
sir.
highlight just one thing, and one more time I want to say it again, and say it with me, Chris. Aaron Rodgers is an MVP candidate this year.
Over Cam?
Yeah, over Cam. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
You're putting Cam in the MVP conversation after the Miami Dolphins game? Are you kidding me?
We're not. We're done. We're done.
We're done. All right, we're going to week 2. We're going to week 2. All right. Now, I'm going to catch you this week, I think. I'm going to catch you this week. I want to catch you this week.
I think I got a lot of good picks this week.
All right. Let's go down the line here, starting with Thursday night's football game, the Bengals at the Browns. Now, if Joe Burrow showed me anything last night, it showed me he's clutch. And going into Cleveland, who is probably feeling a lot of disrespect right now, considering Baker Mayfield looked horrendous. Odell Beckham Jr. is fed up. There's trade rumors going around. I wouldn't be surprised to see if the Browns actually made a huge effort to make a kind of a comeback and kind of silence everybody, saying, shut the hell up, let us do our thing. Mm-hmm. I'm picking Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Okay. I'm going with Cleveland. I'm not quite sold on Joe Burrows and the company, even though they played solid. They played a solid game. But, Cleveland has something to prove, and especially like you said with the trade rumors going around, I know that has to feel a slight feel away to Odell, and he's going to come out blowing people out the water. It's going to be I think it'll be a high-scoring game, to be honest with you.
Hopefully. Thursday Night Football slate sucks this year, so I hope some excitement actually comes our way.
It's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of passes being thrown out there.
All right, going into the 1 o'clock games for Sunday, the Giants at the Bears. And this is a tricky game because the Bears are about 27 points, but it was against Detroit's defense, who's not really all the way there yet. Jamie Collins got ejected, as we know, for fake headbutting a ref, which is one of the weirdest headlines I've read all weekend. What? What was that? Anyway, Giants at the Bears. This is a tough call for me, but I'm going to go with the Giants. I'm going to go with Daniel Jones on the road.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going with Chicago. I don't think he's going to be ready for that D-line.
Fair enough. And hopefully Saquon Barkley's a little bit more prepared this week. Hopefully.
He better. You got Khalil Mack, a real Mack truck that's on the other
side.
Real.
About to say. Anyway,
better be.
Going to the next game, 1 o'clock Sunday. The Rams at the Eagles. And I think a lot of this depends whether or not Miles Sanders is back. But I'm going to go with the Rams here.
You'll go with the Rams? Let's see. I'm gonna go with the Rams. I don't think their offense, the Eagles' offense, is gonna be ready for the Rams' defense, and especially when you don't have a legit number 1 receiver or number 2 receiver for that matter. And you're depending on your tight end, which there's nothing wrong with it because my team, we depend on Kittles, but you need extra pieces. You need more pieces out there to help him out. And I don't think they're going to be able to do that without
fair enough.
Number 1 and number 2.
Fair enough. Atlanta at Dallas. I want you to pick this game first. I'm kind of not really sold in this game yet. I want you to pick first.
I'm going with Dallas.
Why?
I'm actually going with Dallas because I like their receivers. The receivers is playing good. I've already had a big spiel about Ezekiel Elliott and how he looks and how he's running out there. He's a phenomenal player that's going to be geared up for another good game, and that's what I'm going with.
And it's interesting because the Falcons and Cowboys secondaries struggled heavily in the Week 1 games, and we're not expected to be really anything special anyway going into the season. So this is going to be a tough game for me. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak bounces back a little bit and kind of shows off a little bit against the Falcons. But I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Ryan and company just blow them out of the water because that secondary is sorry right now in Dallas.
But so is the Falcons.
Right, exactly. It's a back and forth, so it's a toss-up.
It's going to be a toss-up for sure.
Right, exactly. Next game.
Come over here and join the bandwagon. Come over here to the winner's side.
All right. Sounds good to me. Anyway, Panthers at Buccaneers. Now, first home game for Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski as a Buccaneer. This is a tough game as well because Teddy Bridgewater, while he was not overly impressive, still put 30 points on the board.
Yep, he did.
And I'm tempted to take the Buccaneers here, and I will. I'm going with Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm. I'm going with Tom Brady as well. Tom's mad. I seen it in
Tom's
his face.
pissed.
They showed a little close-up when Mike Evans cut his route off, and he was like, he showed that little face, and I was like, yo, that looked like only a dad could make that face. Only a dad could make that face, and I was like, I get it. He's mad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going with Tampa. They're gonna pull it out.
All right. Next game. And now if they lose this week to this team, I'm going to be roasting the hell out of you. San Francisco at the Jets.
Oh,
I'm going with the 49ers, and if they let me down, oh my God. The wrath of God will come down on you next podcast.
Come on now. Everybody, come on now. They don't have Bell out there now, and they don't even know what they want to do with their quarterback situation, if Joe Flacco is going to be ready to play or not, which is going to be interesting. I actually want to see what they're going to do when Joe Flacco is healthy. If they're going to actually just plug him in, or they're going to let Sam Darnold just continue play. But yeah, I'm not going with the Jets. We're San Fran.
Smart man. Anyway, Denver Broncos at Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going with the Steelers just because it's home and because Big Ben showed me a lot in his debut game coming back from injury.
Yeah, easy call. I'm going with the Steelers. They're hitting on all cylinders right now. It's probably one of the few teams that are actually have chemistry and they're working well together on the field.
100%. Jaguars at Titans. I'm going with the Titans. Easy. And I think it's an easy call, but I would, against my own, well-being, would love to see Gardner Minshew take down the Titans. What a statement win that would be for Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. The only way that I can see Jacksonville winning is if Gardner Minshew has another unbelievable game in the air, which is very possible because it's not like this is the same Broncos defense that we've seen in the past years.
100%.
Chris Harris is gone. Von Miller is hurt. He's off and on. But I like Chubbs. Chubbs is a very solid.
Remember, they're playing the Titans. They're not playing the Broncos.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. The Titans. Yeah, definitely going with I'm definitely going with the Titans.
There we go. Anyway, next game, Lions at Packers. Now, it will be more competitive than people realize because Matthew Stafford will come out pissed because of DeAndre Swift. But I am going with Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers continues his MVP campaign.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to go with it. I'm gonna stick with Green Bay, even though I feel like I need to see a little bit more solid play from the receivers outside of Devontae Adams. I'm still going to go with the Green Bay.
We have Buffalo at Miami. I'm going with Buffalo because Miami showed me quite literally nothing on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going with Buffalo. That's an easy call. There's nothing that I see from Miami that's going to change anything.
Vikings at Colts, the last 1:00 game on the slate here. I'm going with the Vikings, but I would not be surprised if Phillip Rivers actually shows up and balls out in his second game as a Colt.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going with Minnesota. I'm going with Minnesota because that defense is still tough.
I agree with you. I picked the Vikings too.
They went up against Aaron Rodgers, and like I said, they surprised me. They definitely surprised me, but that's a legendary quarterback with up and coming legendary wide receiver. So that had to play a part. But I think Minnesota's going to pull this game out over here.
Fresno State runs deep. Anyway, going up here, Washington at Arizona. I'm going with Arizona. Kyler Murray continues to ball out.
Yeah, Kyler Murray and that dynamic duo of him and D-Hop is going to it's going to be too much for them. So
exactly. And Washington's Cinderella story ends week 2. Anyway, Ravens at Texans, a great football game to watch. Just if you're a football fan in general. Excited to see that one. I'm going to go with Baltimore, though, just because the Texans' offense right now is still a little bit shaky, I think. I think they need to put the pieces together a little bit more. While they showed me some flashes, it will take them until, I think, week 4, week 5 to really get going.
See, I've been hesitant with this because it's like I said, it's going to be a really good game. I have a lot of ties, with Texans and a lot of ties with the Ravens. So I couldn't really come up with a logical answer, but I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think it's gonna, but overall, I think it's gonna be a really good game.
I think so too. Just as a football fan, just to watch that game will be a great experience. The Chiefs at the Chargers. Wow, Tyrod Taylor pulled it out. It's not going to be close. Chiefs in a rout.
Yeah, we're on the same page. We're going Kansas City.
Patriots at Seahawks, a rematch of Super Bowl 49. Does it still sting, Chris? I bet it does. Here we go. We're getting feisty on week 2. Anyway, the Patriots at the Seahawks, and I hate to do this. I'm sorry to Boston's Big 3 Nation, the Ride the Wave Nation. I'm going with Seattle.
Joe? Going with Seattle over the Patriots?
Hey, I'm a smart guy. I'm not a dumb guy. I'm a smart guy.
Oh.
You surprised?
Oh, yeah, I am.
I'm not a homer.
Yes, I am. I'm very surprised.
I'm not a homer. You had them at 10. I had them at 14.
Talking about how great they were looking, and all they need to do is get Odell, and hopefully he can work and all this stuff, and now you're going to go against him.
I was critical of Cam's passing. Let's not forget that. I wanted a whole 5-minute tangent about that, too.
But the run game is immaculate.
It is immaculate.
Yeah. But, I'm sticking with him.
Stick with Russ.
Yeah.
Russ will do you good. Stick with
Dangerous.
Russ. Danger Russ.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what was that thing you put out the Instagram video? Mr. Limitless? That's his new nickname, something like that? Limitless? Yeah. Limitless like McGee. Limitless McGee over here, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, exactly.
Monday Night Football, Saints Raiders. And after watching that game against Carolina, this actually might be a very good football game. No, I'm still going with the Saints, but I am very excited to see that new Death Star Stadium out in the desert.
Yeah, I want to see that as well, and I want to see Russ. I want to see Russ get off a little bit more this game. But yeah, they're not beating Sean Payton and Drew Brees.
Not a shot. And that wraps up week 2 of Stafford and Matthews. That was a great episode, I think. We went back and forth on a couple of different areas here. And I think the main points I want to talk about to finish this out. Number 1, Russell Wilson looks elite just over again. And if he doesn't get an MVP vote this year, I'm saying this on camera, I will shave my head. If Russell Wilson does not get an MVP vote, I will shave my head. Put it down. You can shave it for me if you want, but I will shave my head. Russell Wilson. Any last thoughts, Chris? All right. Any last thoughts, Chris?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, what'd you say?
Any last thoughts?
You were breaking up.
Oh, no. I said any last thoughts.
No. I want to see it. I want to see you go ball.
Wow.
I want to see you go ball.
The friendship's real, I guess, guys.
Clean cut. I think Russell can do it. There's one thing that I've noticed about Russell Wilson is that no matter what, no matter how difficult the season may look, no matter who's beat up during the season, he always plays above the level that everybody is predicting him to play. Mm-hmm. I can see him winning the MVP for sure.
100%. All right, that concludes Stafford and Matthews episode 2. Check in with us next week. Next Wednesday, we'll drop another episode concluding, hopefully, my record being better than Chris's for the first damn time this season. But I guess we'll see. Stafford and Matthews episode 2. We'll check you guys later. See ya.